Welcome everyone to episode 111 on the day 111. That's right, episode 111 of the Chris Parrish podcast. This happens to be on January 11th, 111. I guess this is the day to acknowledge the one. Everyone here, everyone in the chat. Star 3 Fan Gaming coming in saying hi, Parrish. Acknowledge the people that helped me out. I appreciate all of you. First things first, we can't do this show unless we acknowledge the people that made this possible. That's right. Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Chris Parrish Podcast is proudly affiliated with them, and you can go and check out Turnbuckle Studios at turnbucklestudios.org right now. And if you want to go and help out and become a partner of Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, go to turnbucklestudios.org/join, and that is your direct link there. I also want to give a shout out to Beercade YEG, the official partner of the Chris Parrish Podcast, located at 105 82nd Avenue in Edmonton, Alberta. They are the home of all WWE PLEs and AEW pay-per-views, free showings, great food, amazing atmosphere. Beercade YEG is the place to be for anything pro wrestling in the city of Edmonton, Alberta. Where do you go? That is the name of today's episode, and that's right. You said, well, you promised that you were going to pick apart companies and rearrange people. Oh, that's exactly what I plan on doing. And I do. I have 15, well, I was going to say people, but I've made some exception. Actually, it is 15 people, but there are tag teams involved. 15 people, 5 from AEW, 5 from TNA, 5 from WWE. I am changing places. I'm putting them somewhere else, basically like a pick them apart fantasy draft in a way. I will tell you, I did put people in who I thought would benefit from the move. Not necessarily big time stars, not necessarily world champions. I picked people who I thought could use a fresh start, who I thought could advance their career, who I thought maybe weren't doing as much with their current company right now. And maybe you give them some fresh scenery and you see where it could take them. That's kind of the mindset I had when making this list. And I'm going to go a little bit methodical with this and a little bit slow with this because I do want to make this the theme of today's episode. But in all honesty, I also want to let everyone know this was a lot of fun and I might even do it again. But I'm going to start off picking apart WWE and I'm going to let you know where I see them. Also, the rule is 5 have to go to TNA, 5 have to go to WWE, and 5 have to go to AEW. It's fair. It's across the board. I'm not just picking apart one company and making one better. I'm not showing favoritism by any means. But first off, I have Apollo Crews going to TNA. And the reason why I chose Apollo Crews is because we just don't see much of him in WWE. Maybe the odd main event, but it's been a long time since he's held the Intercontinental Championship and he was defending it at WrestleMania and he was having main event type matches or quality matches, but he was having feuds that gave you interest in not only the person but the character. So I brought him over to TNA because I thought TNA is a land where he will definitely shine. I look at guys like Drew McIntyre when he went to TNA and he became a world champion. I look at people like Bobby Lashley who did the same. I even look at LA Knight's former persona in Eli Drake and just how well they were able to take an opportunity and really maximize it. You look at Nick Nemeth now, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. TNA is a land where they will give you an opportunity to really grow and be a better complete performer and really do what maybe WWE couldn't provide you. And that's not a knock because we all know, and sometimes in pro wrestling, it's not the company necessarily, it's just the lack of opportunity sometimes. And really, you just don't have the minutes as much as you would like. So Apollo Crews is someone I would pick to TNA. I also decided Natalia going to AEW would truly help benefit this women's division. Not that I think it's terrible, because I do think the women's division in AEW is getting better, and we're starting to finally see more and more time devoted. We just saw the women tag team titles, and I thought, you know what? It would be really good for Natalia to go there with all the opportunities surrounding championships that they do provide you. So because of that, I do think Natalia going to AEW will create a lot of fresh matchups. We know that Mercedes Moné is there and going well. What about a timeless Tony Storm and just how good that could be? You see that unleashed version of Natty, put that in the ring with a timeless Tony Storm, you can create magic. But then you also look at like a Willow Nightingale, for example, or you'll look at even other opportunities. Like if by chance Britt Baker was to stay there, and if she does come back, how new would that feel? You also have like Sky Blues, the Julia Harts of the world. This is all new, and it would give you that really experienced woman on your roster who's been there, done that, established, and she could help not only bring you up, but she knows exactly how to bring out the best of you, as we have seen just time in and time out from Natalia in WWE. I also want to make sure that everyone in the comments, if you would have your choices of who you'd like to see, please let me know, and I will definitely talk about them as well. But I am just picking down my list and letting you know what I chose. But I would love to know what you decided and why you decided it, because I'm just not doing this for the sake of doing it. I'm going to give you guys a full explanation as to why. Next up, I had the very first. Good morning, Chris Best. How are you doing today? I have the first tag team selected, and I'm taking Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day, and I'm putting them in the tag team division of AEW. And the reason is because I would love to see them mix up with FTR one more time. I would love to see them go up against some of the different tag teams that are there, whether it's the Don Callis family, any members there, or maybe, just maybe, you're looking at a front runner and something like that. I think they create such a different dynamic, and I think you could then go back to their babyface personas if you want, and it makes sense because the landscape's different and now everything has changed. Also, you put them in the ring with like Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I think this would be a really intriguing thing. Yes, we've seen it before, but doesn't mean that something we've seen in a different promotion in the current one would be bad. We've seen it time in and time out. How many times did we see Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose? But we still enjoyed Jericho versus Moxley. So I had the New Day going to AEW. I'm hoping that this would give a little bit more popularity into the tag team division. Plus, we know what the New Day does. We know how important they are for just the Black people and their community, and how much they really are great ambassadors for that. We've seen it with the inspiration of their gear. We've seen it with just the way they speak out. They're amazing representation for their people, and I think they're just a fantastic role model, to the point where I think this would help benefit AEW and their public image in a little bit more, because I do think the more we put good people in promotions, it's just a good look. And I'm not saying that AEW has a negative look. I just think anything can help at this point, and I think it would be just a fantastic addition, not to mention, then we get Kenny Omega and Xavier Woods back together. Just imagine how Kenny Omega could help the channel up, up, down, down. Because yes, that would go with Xavier Woods. He does own it. They're just in a working agreement right now with WWE, but that would eventually leave. And we all know how well that channel did for content and kind of how that in a way brought WWE to more YouTube views. I can only imagine it would do the same thing for AEW. And because of that, I think the New Day to AEW is a strong, strong ad. And lastly, I had The Miz, the former 8-time Intercontinental Champion, the first ever 2-time Grand Slam champion, as he 100% mixed that up a couple SmackDowns ago. I have him going to TNA. And the reason is I would love to see guys like Frankie Kazarian and The Miz working together. I would love to see The Miz work with both Nick Nemeth and his brother. I mean, Ryan Nemeth, I think, is just missing a couple things before really hitting it to that next level. But I think he and The Miz would have some very entertaining skits, entertaining segments, but then you also add Nick Nemeth to that, and I think it's just a lot of fun. We all know that they're friends outside of this business. We all know that they've been in each other like wedding parties and all that stuff. Well, Nick Nemeth has been in The Miz's, but there's a lot of camaraderie with a lot of the TNA roster and The Miz, and I think he'd be a fantastic addition. Not to mention, he'd be coming down with a similar idea like how Christian went down. He's a big time get. He's a well-established superstar. He has been in movies. He's been WWE champion. He has defeated John Cena at a WrestleMania. So he has accolades behind his name. So having him and putting him in TNA right there gives you another star. And I think when you can always add another star to your main event scene, that is just a fantastic addition. Not just if you need another choice for a champion, but now you also have somebody that could help elevate somebody coming up. And we all know The Miz is fantastic at doing that. So I have The Miz going to TNA, just like I had Apollo Crews going to TNA. And then I also had both Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston and Natalya going to AEW. Let me know what you think of my additions to AEW and TNA from the WWE end. We did have 3 going to AEW and 2 from TNA. So we can only do 3 more to TNA and 2 more to AEW. But again, I do ask if you want to let me know what you have. If you've picked anybody, let me know not only the reason why, but who they are, because it'd be a lot of fun. But first things first, before we get to anything else, I do want to let everybody know that Turnbuckle Studios is available from a merchandise standpoint. That's right. If you ever wanted to go and pick up a t-shirt, a hat, maybe a hoodie, maybe even a phone case, whatever it is, carlcarafel.redbubble.com has it. And you don't even have to pick up just a Chris Parrish one. You could pick up a Turnbuckle Studios, a Turnbuckle Talk, Saturday Night Gaming, any show that is featured on the Turnbuckle affiliation. You want a Boar's Nest onesie? You can probably get it. So go to carlcarafel.redbubble.com. And if you want more of a visual, we got you covered. Check out this video.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com.
That's right, everyone. And if you want to just help out Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle affiliation with all of their content and giving them opportunities to do more, helping us by going to the shop and purchasing something is a great way to do it. Another great way of doing this is by liking and following and subscribing to all its channels. And if you want to do that for the Chris Parrish podcast, my link tree is just right there in the corner. That gives you access to all my social networks. That also gives you an opportunity to go and check out the Chris Parrish podcast on Spotify. That's right. The Chris Parrish podcast is on Spotify. It is not live. We do upload the episodes later in the day. So if by chance you did miss the live showing, you can always go there as well and check it out. Did you know that the Chris Parrish podcast is also live on Twitch? That's right. If you want to go check, not Twitch, but on Kick. So if you want to go to kick.com/the Chris Parrish podcast, you can now follow and subscribe to the Chris Parrish podcast on Kick. And if you're on any of the other platforms and there's a subscribe, follow, notification bell button, make sure you hit that because that definitely helps out the channel. And that does such a long list of help because guess what? A lot of people don't actually subscribe and follow to a channel. It's actually quite astonishing. Next up, I am going to take people from TNA. And where I have that, we're going to go with, first off, I'm going to go with Jason Hotch. He is part of the Good Hands, part of Order 4. He is normally in a tag team with John Skyler. I have been able to watch him up close and a little bit now when I watch TNA. And I really like Jason Hotch. I think he is very talented, and I think he is very young still as he's going up in the business. And I think he just needs to take that next step, whether it's in a group or on his own. I'm not too sure because we all know you can never predict these things fully. But what I would love to see is Jason Hotch being able to go out there for a match, getting hints, getting those helps, getting those advice from a guy like Shawn Michaels. And that's why I have him joining WWE in the NXT brand. I think he would be a fantastic addition to NXT, and I could even see him slotting into the North American Championship picture right away. I think he is that skilled. I think he is that polished, and I would love to see Jason Hotch get an opportunity with WWE in some shape or form. Next up, I had Cedric Alexander. And yes, I did what we all thought he was going to do once he left WWE. I have Cedric Alexander going to AEW. And yes, I do have him joining the Hurt Syndicate because I do think the Hurt Syndicate is just missing a little something. And I do think reforming what the Hurt business was in WWE and going completely over AEW. There we go. You did it. You've completed it. You got Cedric Alexander back, and now you can really move Bobby Lashley into the world title picture while having Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander be your tag team if you want. And I think that is a very good problem to have if you're AEW and you now have these options. Not to mention, you go back and you can have those classic matches between Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. You can maybe do a Will Ospreay and Cedric Alexander, or a Kyle Fletcher and Cedric Alexander. And I think everyone is going to have a lot of fun watching those two go at it. And those are just examples of what you can do. They're not everything of what you can do. So I have Cedric Alexander going to AEW, Jason Hotch going to WWE. I also have Danny Luna going to WWE, specifically going straight to NXT as well. I would love to see Danny Luna going up against Azaria like right away. Just imagine if maybe you bring in Danny Luna to be Izzy Dane's heater, her not so much bodyguard, but just insurance policy, and then you can really ride Izzy Dane and Danny Luna up against a Soruka and Zarya. And that could be a big time tag feud that you have on the women's side in NXT. Who would say no to that? I would also like to see Danny Luna go up against a JC Jane or a Fallon Henley. Just imagine the matchups she could have with a Thea Hale or even a Kendall Gray or Ren Sinclair. So I think there's a lot of opportunities with Danny Luna in NXT. Plus, I do think that we have a great talent right there that could benefit from a different platform and a platform that really grows. CBRS Entertainment coming in saying there's a lot of part of me that wants to see how Jody Threat would do in the WWE. In my eyes, I think Jody Threat would be great. I don't think she ever has bad matches. I love the person. I love the talent. I just feel, where would they slot on the main event on a Raw or SmackDown right now? And I feel they may get, or she may get lost in the shuffle simply because there's so much going on. That's why I think NXT clearly is the best opportunity, especially now that we've seen Lash Legend and Jordynne Grace go up into the main roster. Just how good would a Jody Threat versus a Blake Monroe be? You have someone who wants to live that lavish lifestyle in Blake Monroe, and then you have someone who is totally on the other side of it, like Jody Threat is. Just how amazing would that mash up? So I think you're onto something there. I just think right now, why not have Jody Threat really get that singles run and become a Knockouts champion in TNA? First, help her build her name value up in TNA, because I think she is just that close. And I do think in 2026 could be a big year for Jody Threat in TNA. So next up, we do have a tag team, Sinner and Saint. Judas Karis and Travis Williams. I have them going to AEW. And the reason why is I do think right now AEW needs another freshest established, but another young tag team. And I think Sinner and Saint would be absolutely fantastic at this. I think, hey, if you want to just go even further with the Don Callis family, these two would be perfect fits with the Don Callis family. Not to mention, did any of you hear what former Baron Corbin, now Bishop Dyer, said on Busting Up, and said, hey, why don't we just have, or no, it was with Jonathan Coachman, sorry. Why not just have everyone join the Don Callis family and do this mega turf war with AEW? So I'm going to piggyback off his idea and say, why not? And have Sinner and Saint join the Don Callis family. And just imagine what it could be if you put the New Day as baby faces against Sinner and Saint as heels, and how much fun and how different would that be in a feud? Or why don't you take Sinner and Saint and you go up against maybe a Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi? Why not? Or, just there's endless scenarios. Or just think of the possibility: Adam Copeland, Christian Cage versus Travis Williams and Judas Akaris. Just come on, 4 Canadian boys. I think Judas is a Canadian kid. I know Travis Williams he's out of British Columbia. So yeah, I have Sinner and Saints going to AEW. And I know everyone, you're like, well, what are you doing? You're plucking away a member from Order 4. What are you going to do there? You're taking a tag team out of TNA. It's fine. It's all going to be fine. So there I had 2 going to WWE and 3 going to AEW, which is completing my AEW list of 5. And the 5 there is Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston. Oh, sorry. I actually have more than 5. I have 6. So you know what? I'm going to scratch Natalya. I'm going to scratch Natalya going to AEW. Actually, no. I like the Natalya one. I just noticed I have Travis Williams, Judas Harris, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston. That's already 4. I can't do Cedric and, you know what? I'm going to scratch Cedric Alexander. I'm going to put in Brian Myers. Yes, I'm going to take out Brian Myers. I'm going to add him straight into NXT as a coach with WWE, coach/performer. You have him. You have Sean Spears. That's even amazing right there. So going to AEW, I have Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Natalia, Travis Williams, and Judas Akiris. That's right. I'm beefing up their tag team division a little bit. I want to see those tag titles on Dynamite more often than I do. All right. So, and then I also have Danny Luna and Jason Hotch going to WWE, with Brian Myers going to WWE as well. All right. I might have to pick some things. I messed up on my math, people. I messed up on my math. That's a real thing. All right. We'll get through this. You know what? Why don't we switch? Let's just keep this. Cedric Alexander goes to AEW. Let's just put Natalia in TNA. And we can do the same thing that she could do in AEW, but in TNA. And then the math works. We'll be fine. We still have her 5 to AEW. We then have 3 to TNA and 2 to WWE. Now we're fine. So I messed up on my math, people. That happens. It just shows you we need a little bit of assistance here at Turnbuckle Studios with the Turnbuckle affiliation program. I need an accountant maybe. So if by chance you want to go to turnbucklestudios.org/join, that is your direct way of checking out the help option over at Turnbuckle Studios. But if you want a little bit more of a visual and you're like me, you need to see it to believe it, well, check out our ad where we want you to tap in.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And once again, that ad and that link to go to is turnbucklestudios.org/join. You can fill out what we like to call kind of a virtual resume. It's really not that bad. It's just a few questions. You put your name, you put your contact information, you let us know what you are good at, and you say, this is what I want to get out of it. This is what I want to do. And we can work together and we can find a great spot for you. And this is just the beginning of an introduction to either the team, to podcasting, to whatever the case may be, but just your next step. But just like Happy Gilmore, all you have to do is tap it in. Just give it a little tappy. A tap, tap, tap a roo. And now we have calmed down to the picking the towns away from AEW. And I thought this was hard, right? Because just like WWE was hard because you want to make sure you're taking out people that don't affect the show too much. I really looked at people that I don't see a lot happening. And right now, he is still technically on the AEW roster page, but I'm taking Ortiz and I'm putting him into TNA. Now, I understand you're putting him back in the same locker room with Santana, but Santana has full out said they just don't speak, but they're not opposed to working with each other. It's not one of those types of relationships. So where I would put Ortiz is right in that spot of Order 4. Why? Because yes, as much as I think Ortiz can do a lot more, he needs a good introduction somehow. So I'm putting him right in the spot that was Jason Hodge. And I would have Ortiz and Skylar tag just for a little bit until we start seeing a little bit of Ortiz really wanting to step out of the shadow of Mustafa Ali. And you're almost having that a little bit. And is there a little bit of moment where do I want to see Santana or Ortiz again? Maybe. But I also want to see Santana become the face of the company. And I think winning the world title and not being associated with Ortiz probably in the first year or maybe year and a half, probably the best thing for it. Let Ortiz get an opportunity to really get close to the fans, but also endeared with the audience and have a good story to where you care about the character and you get invested. And I think that is just a way you could do it. Another person who I thought would really beef up in more ways than one with their main event scene, and that's right, even if you want to go into an international or an X division, you can start there. But I have Buddy Matthews joining TNA and joining that Impact Zone. I think he would be a fantastic addition to TNA. I know the easy answer would be putting him back with his real life wife and Rhea Ripley in WWE. But I think right now, Buddy Matthews is doing a very smart thing with his career and finding a niche where he did so in AEW when he was with Aleister Black and part of that group, that House of Black group. But what I love to see him do is right now, he could be a guy that once you're seeing that Ortiz kind of separation from Order 4, who better than maybe Mustafa Ali? Who better does he know than his time in 205 than a Buddy Murphy? Now known as Buddy Matthews, you're bringing him in and you're taking Ortiz out by bringing in Buddy Matthews. And I think Buddy Matthews' addition to Order 4 would be just exactly what they need to really beef up and be taken seriously. Because if you've heard me before, I want to see Mustafa Ali and Mike Santana eventually go for that TNA title. I think that is a feud that would be a lot of fun to see. I think Mustafa Ali really needs that. And then you could go with Ali and Matthews versus Santana or Ortiz for a temporary thing, and it would be a lot of fun. Next up, I do have a trio going to WWE. That's right, a trio. Trio as in 3 people. They are they are more or less together in AEW. But first off, I have the tag team of Colton and Austin Gunn. That's right. I am bringing Billy Gunn's sons to the WWE, and I think this would be a fantastic addition. Who else would Billy Gunn trust with his family than Tony Khan? Well, how about Triple H and Shawn Michaels? 2 of his best friends in the business. And this is exactly what I would do. I would have the Guns go straight after some of the top names in WWE. Go after the Usos. Who wouldn't want to see the Guns against the Usos? Or you have the Gunn brothers go after the Motor City Machine Guns. Or even have the Guns go up against the Creed brothers. Or even the Guns going up against the Lucha Bros. Yeah, we've seen it before. But once again, you change the landscape. It does become fresh again. So there's just a world of possibilities. Or they can go to NXT and you can have them go after the tag team titles there for a short time before moving to a Raw or SmackDown. So yeah, I have them going over. And then I also have somebody who I thought would have benefited a lot more, but I do like the way he has been being used from time again, but it is Switchblade Jay White. I do feel he would have been such a massive addition to WWE. I would love to see him even join the Judgment Day in a way, and kind of, if you want to kick out Finn Balor, what a beautiful way of doing that by bringing in Switchblade Jay White. And then you really have a completely different mindset there. I also would love to see Jay White go up against Cody Rhodes in a feud kind of away from the championship. So I think that would be just such a different thing. But also, let's look at the scenarios. You can have Jay White go up against Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, and that's just on the SmackDown side. What about the Raw side? CM Punk. You can have Roman Reigns. You can have Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Gunther. The list is endless, not to mention, what about the history of Finn Balor? As I said before, right there. What about AJ Styles? Also right there. seeing Jay White in a ring with Rey Mysterio? Who says no? And let's just look at the Intercontinental Champion Dom Mysterio and the United States Champion right now in Carmelo Hayes or Ilya Dragunov for that matter as well. There's a lot of options there where Jay White would just be salivating in terms of having amazing matches. So yeah, that is something I would do. I would move Jay White and the Guns over to WWE. So just to correct my math here, I have going to AEW, I have Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. That is 2. I have Cedric Alexander as 3. I have Travis William and Judas Harrison Center and Saint as 4 and 5. Those are my 5 going to AEW. My 5 going to TNA. I have Natalia, The Miz, and Apollo Crews with Ortiz and Buddy Matthews. And then going to WWE, I have Colton and Austin Gunn, Jay White, Danny Luna, and Jason Hodge. So 5 across the board. We got this done. We finished it. That is the list I made of where I would take talent and put them in different spots if I wanted to see something just different. How cool would the idea be with a little bit of a draft between the 3 companies? I don't know. I think I wouldn't mind it, but what about even just talent exchanges through trades or whatnot? We've seen the exchanges before, whether it's just temporary 1-for-1s. Look at TNA and WWE in the past with Christian and Ric Flair. And WWE wanted Ric Flair in the Hall of Fame, so they lent Christian over to TNA for a one-night appearance as the Intercontinental Champion, might I add. And then obviously we've seen it just throughout the years. So just so much that you can do there. But yeah, as I said before, probably not the first time I'm going to do this, but who knows? I might even swing a little bit bigger on the second attempt. But I had a lot of fun doing this list, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun saying, hey, what if, right? What if we put this person here? What can we do? So yeah, that is what I have. Now, if you're curious to see, well, that's what you have. But Chris, you always say you're part of the Turnbuckle Studios, Turnbuckle affiliation. Are there other shows? And yeah, yes, there are. So if you want to know about the shows you can see from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're in luck because we got a weekly calendar for you. So check this out. Have some time to maybe fuel up, and then we'll get back to what happened this past week in the world of pro wrestling.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
That's right. Next up, we have the Boar's Nest coming later today, all over the Turnbuckle Studios platforms, as well as Bubba Dukes. You can also check out the Raw Patrol that's happening tomorrow. That's right. Also, we all know Raw special live time at 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. But that time that you saw will be the time for the Raw Patrol. Why? Because we're Canadian. We have jobs. That just worked for us to get together and watch Raw as well. So, yeah, that explains why we're not doing it live when WWE goes out on Europe. So yeah, Now, what happened in the world of pro wrestling this past week? Anything intriguing? That's right. We got a new undisputed Universal Champion, whatever they want to call it. I just like to say WWE Champion. It's simpler. I think that's just a better way of saying it. But nonetheless, Drew McIntyre defeated Cody Rhodes in the 3 stages of Hell match on Friday on SmackDown. We saw Cody Rhodes get pinned 1, 2, 3 with the use of a kick to the Cody balls on there. And that is how Drew picked up the win in the straight up singles match. The referee wasn't looking. So that's unfortunately what happened. We did see Cody Rhodes then go into fall 2, and I believe it was just a falls count anywhere match. And Cody Rhodes picked up the 1, 2, 3. You tied it 1-1. We then went to a steel cage match. And just when we thought Drew McIntyre had it in the bag, he was going to go through the door, a mysterious figure comes out, and it was none other than Jacob Fatu making his return to WWE, putting a beating on Drew McIntyre, only for Cody Rhodes to say, "Hey man, what are you doing? Why are you getting involved?" And then Jacob Fatu turns to him and starts putting up a beating on Cody Rhodes. We all were like, "What is going on? Why is Jacob Fatu attacking both Drew and Cody?" This is okay. I'm now confused because we just want to know who attacked Jacob, and we thought for sure it was Drew, but now you're going after Cody. Well, anyway, during all this brouhaha going with Jacob and Cody, that just gave us time to watch Drew McIntyre slime his way out of the open side cage door, falls out, and becomes your new WWE champion, as Cody Rhodes now is a former 2-time champion. Drew McIntyre picking up his 4th reign as world champion in some fashion. So congratulations to Drew McIntyre. I think a lot of people are really happy that they finally pulled the trigger with Drew McIntyre, because he's been kind of teased, but now he's finally won. And just how cool of a moment was his first day as WWE champion. Just happens to be in Glasgow, Scotland, kind of the big city where he grew up. He wasn't born there, but that was the big city he grew up, and just was able to fulfill a promise where he got to bring back that championship to Scotland. So probably a fantastic moment for Drew McIntyre. So happy that he was able to do that. A lot of people have credited Drew McIntyre for the growth of European talent over the years, and just based on his success. So seeing him in that position does a lot, I think, for a lot of the European pro wrestlers, especially out in the Scotland areas, the Ireland areas, just that United Kingdom area. So congratulations to Drew, and I think that's just fantastic. Now, the question we ask Cody Rhodes is, where do you go now in terms of, are you mad that you lost? Are you mad at Jacob for kind of getting involved? Who do you go after? So I think right away, I think you got to squash the obvious. You got to squash the Jacob Fatu situation before you go back to Drew, right? You do have that probably owed rematch at some point. So figure out why Jacob Fatu got involved. Make sure you squish that bug right then and there, and then your pathway just becomes a little bit more clear in terms of Drew McIntyre and that championship. CBRS Entertainment coming in saying, I really think this was just Jacob cementing that he wants a shot and he doesn't care who he has to go through, even though there is going to be a tournament to determine the number 1 contender. Yeah, but shouldn't he give a, you know what, about who attacked him? And I think that maybe is a little bit more, just as much of a priority as him wanting a shot at on the championship. Plus, if he wanted a shot at Cody Rhodes in the championship, why did he cost Cody Rhodes the championship? If anything, he helped Drew McIntyre with that title, and I just think it really put a lot of confusion on who attacked who. Now, you could put in the whole, this could be a sign of Cody Rhodes making that heel turn that everybody seems to want, but I don't know if that's the right move for Cody at this time. I do think right now he is just as fair to be mad at Jacob as Jacob is to be mad, because we don't know the why to Jacob getting mad at Cody. We just know what we saw, and that was Cody trying to understand why Jacob was getting involved in the match. And then we saw it. There was no initial contact from Jacob to Cody, and that just makes me wonder that Cody is not the one who attacked him, but maybe he thinks Drew is. But at the same time, Jacob Fatu didn't seem that pissed off when Drew won the championship either. So it's why I just feel that whole thing, there's so much more to this story than what we saw, and I'm very intrigued by it. But where does Cody Rhodes go from that way? Just like, where does Jacob Fatu go? Is he chasing his attacker? Is he chasing a championship? I think that's why we need more clarity out of this scenario, because, again, we just don't know. And then, yeah, who's going to be Drew McIntyre's first opponent as champion? That's going to be the first domino to fall, I think. So it's going to be very intriguing. But yeah. We also saw the 1-year anniversary of Raw on Netflix, and I want to ask, what does everybody think about the Stranger Thing involvement, even though there wasn't a single actor from the show on Raw, which was hard because it's not like WWE had an issue bringing in actors to be a part of their audience in the past. But the fact that on a Stranger Things crossover, you don't have anybody from the Stranger Things there, I don't know, seemed kind of weird. I feel it was kind of unnecessary and maybe would serve better if it wasn't that particular episode of Raw. But that's just me. I don't know. I thought it kind of made that whole show just a different vibe than maybe what it should be. But nonetheless, we saw some amazing matches in terms of the main event with Braun Breaker and CM Punk. And no, we didn't get a Chris Jericho return that we may have been rumored about. But what we did get was an absolute step up of Braun Breaker establishing himself as a main event player. Despite the fact that he lost, he absolutely cemented his spot in that title picture. And we just know that Braun Breaker, more so than ever, will be world champion someday. It's just not right now, and that's okay, because I know the narrative going around is WWE doesn't have anybody born in the 90s as world champion. Personally, I think that's a stupid narrative, because yes, it might be true, but at the same point, who cares? Who cares what year, decade they were born? Do the champions they have right now make sense to what they're doing? That is the bigger and most important question. And I think right now, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, they're pretty damn good champions and good representation for those titles, if you ask me. But yeah, we also heard that Killer Kelly, no longer a part of TNA Wrestling. Her contract has expired, and from all sounds of it, does not plan on re-signing. Now, things could change, but based off the article I read from, I believe it was Body Slam, could be incorrect there. So please, if anybody wants to fact check me, please do so. It looks like she is going to weigh options, so there's a good chance that Killer Kelly could either return to the independent scene or even be WWE or AEW bound. One, probably, I would assume NXT or AEW for sure. So yeah, I do think that's going to be a reality moving forward. We all know that Matt Taven is also no longer a part of AEW and will be probably going somewhere else. I would love to see him show up on the AMC debut of Impact. I would love to see Matt Taven go to TNA. I think that would just make a lot of sense. And again, if we want to see Matt Taven kind of more in that singles spot, kind of how he was during his run with Ring of Honor, I think that would just make a lot of sense in the book there. So, yeah, but I'm not going to say no to Matt Taven showing up in WWE and NXT, where maybe, just maybe, with that vacated NXT title, could make a lot of sense. That's right. If you saw NXT on Tuesday, we saw Oba Femi withstand the challenge of Leon Slater, retain that NXT championship, but we know that he is set to make his debut on Raw or SmackDown. Sources are leaning to Raw. But as he was in the ring celebrating his win, it gets sent over to Ava Raine, talking to the Evolve wrestlers, letting them know that opportunities are out there on NXT with all the call-ups that we've been seeing, only for Robert Stone to come in and say, Ava, did you see what Oba just did? She says, no. She's clearly talking to people, Robert. What a smart question that was. But we then go back and we see the NXT title in the ring vacated. And who do we see kind of looking in the background? Tony D. So that's kind of what we saw this week in pro wrestling. We also know that Mercedes Moné is taking a break from AEW. So what does that mean? Is she going to reinvent herself? Is she going to come back strong? Internet, this is where you're on the clock. I'll let you kind of go with there. But we won't know more until, honestly, the weeks and the days happen. These are just things that we do know. So very interesting week. It's going to be very intriguing to see where do you go next. So pro wrestling, thank you for always being you. But sadly, we're getting up there in time. So we're going to have to say we're going to go off the air soon. But before we do that, just want to let everybody know that next week, Hunter or Hunted will be the theme to episode 112 of the Chris Parrish podcast. That will be a lot of fun. I do have some ideas right now. I haven't selected a specific one, but we do know Hunter or Hunted will be the name of the episode on 112 next Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I do want to let everybody know that in the description, there is a link tree to Wrestling with Entertainment. And if you want to know why, it's because just last week I recorded an audio interview with them. And if you want to check that out, it comes to you live this Wednesday. And the only place to see that is with Wrestling with Entertainment. Their link tree is attached in the description. So in the bio, so that is linktree/Wrestling with Entertainment. And again, if you want to follow me and follow the Chris Parrish podcast and help support everything I do and this show, please check out my link tree at Chris Parrish. Go check out the Chris Parrish podcast live on Spotify. And if you want to go, we're on kick.com/the Chris Parrish podcast. You can check us on all of the other platforms, as well as this Turnbuckle Studios YouTube page. But for now, I just want to let everybody know this has been episode 111 on the day 111 of the Chris Parrish podcast. Do you go here? I will just say, I hope you do, because I appreciate you stopping by and having fun. But as we all know, everything comes to an end. But that doesn't mean you should, because at the end of the day, I want you to be happy, be healthy, because you matter. I'll see you next Sunday, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and take
Rip through the clouds, faster, catch us from falling close to the ground.